Have you ever dreamed of being a millionaire? Have you ever dreamed of having a nice car, a luxury home, or anything you want? If that's the case, you're in the perfect spot to get started and avoid the pitfalls that a lot of people fall in. In this video, we're going to take a look at the problems some people make on a daily basis, and also look at the mistakes people make that keeps them from getting ahead financially. The reality is, most people have no idea what they're spending their money on. People don't think about their future and ways of avoiding stuff that wastes their money. Here are the top 15 things that poor people waste their money on. Number 1. Bank fees and credit cards. People who don't have a lot of money should take into consideration that credit cards are nothing more than a loan. Credit cards are something that poor people should avoid. All credit cards do is temporarily finance a certain type of lifestyle. But it's just a loan, and it gains interest. And until the loan's paid off, the interest adds up. All you're doing is working to pay the bank. And sadly, a lot of the things people buy with their credit cards aren't very useful at all. It's an all too easy trap to fall into, so be careful. Number 2. Beauty and personal grooming. When you're walking down the street, you may find lots of people with extravagant haircuts, fancy nails, and fancy makeup, but guess what? They probably don't even have enough money to fix their car that's broken. Not a good situation. Are you working hard all week just to get a haircut that a week later will look like it was before? Take a look at a rich person's hair. It's usually a very simple haircut. This boils down to priorities. Number 3. Charitable donations. When you donate money to a charitable organization, a lot of the time, that money doesn't even go to the poor people who actually need it. Most of it is going to fund the salaries and administration costs of the company who runs the charity. And unfortunately, a lot of charities are nothing more than scams. What they do is prey on the emotions of people who don't have a lot of money to begin with, because they feel the need to support other people who don't have a lot of money without giving any consideration for themselves. Just to put it into perspective, the manager of a charitable organization, on average, earns around $240,000 per year. This average is based on the top 100 charities in the United Kingdom. The story is relevant elsewhere. Almost 35% of the money going into charitable organizations is just reinvested back into the organization so they can figure out ways to bring in more money. And the cycle just continues. If you do some research, you can find ways of helping people in need on a more personal level. Like the saying goes, give a man a fish and he eats for one day. Teach a man how to fish and he will eat for a lifetime. Number 4. Taxes. The sad reality is, people without a lot of money end up paying a lot in taxes. And rich people often don't. They use their vast wealth in order to lobby politicians to find tax loopholes and avoid paying taxes. You will also find people without a lot of money extremely happy when they get their tax refunds. Why is that? It's their money. The government just took too much and now they're giving it back to them. Number 5. The bank. Most people are giving their bank lots of money and they don't even know it. Fees are often applied for depositing and withdrawing money. Oftentimes, interest rates are out of control. When you keep money in a bank, whether it's short-term or long-term, you are being charged fees. Number 6. Vaping and smoking. On average, a pack of cigarettes costs around $6.37. That means smokers pay $186 per month. In 10 years, that's over $23,000 just for smoking. The cost of smoking differs greatly, depending on where you live. If 2 people in the same household are both smokers, one of them is working an entire month just to cover the cost of cigarettes. Worldwide, there are around 1 billion people who smoke. That's 1 in every 7 people on planet Earth. Number 7. Gambling. If you're spending money to make money, this is a huge problem. People who don't have a lot of money tend to spend it on lottery tickets and scratch-offs. They all have the same hope and dream that they're gonna win big. In Australia, on average, residents lose approximately $1,000 a year on gambling. 70% of the population of the United Kingdom takes part in some type of gambling or lottery tickets. In a 2012 Yale University study, they found that people with the lowest 1/5 income bracket had the highest rate of gambling. Number 8. Going out to nightclubs. When you see people out in a nightclub having a good time, ordering expensive champagnes and alcohol, you probably think they have money. This may not be the case. Some of these people are spending the equivalent to an entire month's salary only for a few hours of pleasure in the club. If you're spending an entire month's salary in one night, you are definitely not in control of your own finances. Somebody who is in control of their money will use their money much more wisely on things like investments and paying off debt. You will never see a truly financial savvy person in a club, but you can be guaranteed you will see them in a bank. Number 9. The latest technology. It's funny when you see someone who appears to be struggling financially, yet they still have the latest technology every year. If you already have money, by all means get a new iPhone, but if you can't afford it, stick with the one you already have. It's the same thing if you were looking at buying a new widescreen TV, but your house needs repairs. What would you want to do with that money? It's all about priorities. If you take care of products according to the manufacturer's recommendations, they will also last you a lot longer. That way you won't have to replace it every year. Number 10. Video games and in-app purchases. Most Fortnite gamers spend the majority of their money on in-game purchases, also known as V-Bucks. The average in-game purchase is around $85. Candy Crush is another game that also makes an insane amount of money, on average $3 million per year. People spend an enormous amount of money every year on gaming and apps, and this doesn't even take into account the amount of time wasted and what that costs. Number 11. Healthcare. Your personal physical health is like a sleeping dragon that you live with. The more you ignore it, the larger it will get. You may not want to go to a dentist to fix a cavity that's bothering you, but if you ignore it, think how much it will cost in the long term. You might even need an implant. You may not want to go to a dentist to have that cavity looked at, but think how much it would cost you if you ignore it and you have to pay for an implant. Going for a checkup on a regular basis is much more cost-effective. The same are with doctor's checkups or a visit to the hospital. It's much more cheaper than a funeral. Number 12. Spiritual items or Lucky Charms. For some reason, people who don't have a lot of disposable income love to spend their money on stones and Lucky Charms. How ridiculous is that? If you want to get rich, save your money on these items and spend it wisely. Spiritual happiness comes from within, not in some stone or Lucky Charm that you can buy online. Number 13. Strange fitness products and miracle diets. If you see a miracle diet or miracle tea that will help you lose weight, don't believe it. This is nothing more than Instagram and Facebook marketing scams. The people producing these videos want one thing and one thing only: your money. The only safe way to get the body you want is accept the reality, eat less and exercise more, work hard, and you can fix it on your own. Number 14. Food waste. People have no idea how much food they're throwing away. When people shop for food, they buy what they think they are going to eat, but 90% of the time, they are dead wrong. The average household throws out about 40% of the vegetables they buy, 17% of the dairy products, and 14% of the meat they buy. American households waste nearly $20,000 on food that they never eat. Number 15. Impulse buying. Let's be honest. You don't need 7 different covers for your iPhone. You also don't need those crazy socks that you saw online, or that miracle kitchen tool. We all know what essentials we really need. Anything above that is simply companies marketing to you. When you have a hard time differentiating between needs and wants, it starts to control your life. Some studies out of the United Kingdom show that mentally, people spend around £150,000 in their head. The average American spends about $5,000 annually on these type of items. And that's the end of the video. We hope that we've given you some information to think about that will help you keep your money. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share.